Greetings, Manchester City fan! We're back with more updates about the club, and if you're passionate about City, you definitely won't want to miss this video. But before we begin, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest news about Manchester City. Today, we'll be talking about a very interesting situation that is shaking up the Premier League. On one side, we have Chelsea, a team that has exceeded expectations and is currently in fourth place in the table. Under the guidance of Enzo Maresca, the club has shown solid performance this season, surprising many. On the other hand, we have Manchester City, which has traditionally been a powerhouse in English football. However, this year, things aren't going as well, and City is in fifth place, 1 point behind Chelsea. The team's drop in performance has been noticeable, with several key players failing to deliver as expected. In light of this situation, City is preparing for changes. To steer the team in a new direction, the club has hired Hugo Vanna, who will take over as the football director this summer. Vanna's arrival is expected to bring significant changes to the squad, with some departures already anticipated and the arrival of new reinforcements, especially young talents. One of the most interesting stories of this transfer window is that of Liam Delap, a striker who has caught the attention of several clubs, including Chelsea. Delap, a former prospect of City's academy, was transferred to Ipswich Town last summer for $20 million and has since been standing out, scoring 10 goals in 28 league games. However, Ipswich is facing the risk of relegation, making Delap's departure more likely. Several Premier League clubs have shown interest in the young striker, with Chelsea particularly keen, having added him to their list of targets to strengthen their attack if they secure a spot in the Champions League. Manchester City, on the other hand, has the option to buy Delap back, thanks to a clause in the player's contract. This clause, which is around $30 million, allows City to bring him back at a considerably lower price than other clubs would have to pay, up to $50 million. Despite this advantage, Manchester City currently has no concrete plans to activate the buyback clause. Journalist Ben Jacobs reported that, for now, City is not considering bringing Delap back. However, this situation could change depending on how the player performs in the final stretch of the season. If Delap continues to impress, Pep Guardiola may be forced to rethink his decision. I'm curious to know what you think about this, City fan. Should Manchester City bring Delap back to the Etihad? Or should the club focus on other options? Leave your opinion in the comments below. Now, shifting the focus a bit, there's another issue that has sparked quite a debate among Manchester City fans: the club's interest in Doué. According to recent reports, Pep Guardiola has made a special request to secure the signing of the young French talent. Manchester City is preparing an offer of $75 million to bring Doué, who has been catching everyone's attention with his performances at Paris Saint-Germain ever since being signed from Rennes for $50 million last summer. Doué, just 19 years old, has stood out for his speed, dribbling ability, and agility, and many are comparing him to Neymar, one of the biggest names in world football. His impressive performances are not limited to League One, but also in the Champions League, where he has showcased all his potential. Moreover, he was recently called up to the French national team, further solidifying his status as one of the most exciting prospects in European football. With the possibility of losing key players like Kevin De Bruyne and Mateo Kovacic, Manchester City is in a financial position that could allow them to make a significant investment in Doué. De Bruyne, who has been a crucial part of City's success in recent years, is increasingly likely to move to MLS, specifically to San Diego. Kovacic, meanwhile, could be nearing a move to Atletico Madrid, with negotiations between the Spanish club and the Croatian ongoing. These potential departures will free up financial resources that could be used to strengthen the squad, and the signing of Doué would be a major step in this direction. Although PSG has made it clear that they see the young player as a central part of their future, Manchester City seems determined to try to convince the French club to sell. The $75 million offer would be a big investment, but is Doué really worth that much money? What do you think, City fan? Should Manchester City spend $75 million to secure desired Doué, or should the club focus on other targets? Leave your opinion in the comments below. Now let's talk about another player who has been causing a stir, Abdad Kusenov. The 21-year-old defender, who joined Manchester City from Lens in January, has shown great potential despite a difficult start. His debut against Chelsea was challenging, and many fans were skeptical about his performance. However, Kusenov has bounced back well and has since demonstrated his skill and resilience, winning City's Player of the Month award in February. Commentator Dion Dublin recently praised Kusenov's performance and highlighted how well he has adapted to the Premier League. Despite initial criticism, Dublin believes that Kusenov has a lot to offer the club, with his aggression, speed, and strength. He has the potential to become a key figure in Manchester City's defense and, who knows, even a future captain. Pep Guardiola himself has also praised the young defender, highlighting his defensive aggression and focus, which have been impressive. Kusenov's recovery is a perfect example of how Manchester City often has talents who need time to adapt, but have great potential to become big names at the club. The future looks promising for Kusenov, and it's exciting to see how quickly he has evolved, gaining the trust of both his teammates and his manager. Now, an important issue that needs to be discussed is the financial impact of Manchester City's investments. The club spent a significant amount in the January transfer window, with signings like Omar Marish, Abdad Kusenov, Vita Ri, and Nico Gonzalez, which cost around $200 million. While the investments have been high, the results on the field have still been below expectations. Manchester City is currently in 5th place in the Premier League and was eliminated from the Champions League by Real Madrid, which has raised concerns among the fans. Despite all the efforts made to strengthen the squad, Manchester City has yet to achieve the expected results. The team currently occupies the 5th position in the Premier League and unfortunately was eliminated from the Champions League by Real Madrid, a significant setback for the defending champions. This underwhelming performance has raised a series of questions about the direction the club should take in the immediate future. The financial situation of Manchester City has also been a cause for concern. Recently, the club's parent company, the City Football Group, released its financial reports for the 2023-24 season, and the figures are not as positive as expected. The group reported losses of $122.2 million, a figure that brings the total accumulated losses of the group since its foundation to nearly $1 billion. These numbers raise questions about the financial sustainability of the multi-club model adopted by CFG, which now oversees 13 clubs worldwide, including Manchester City itself. Although CFG's total revenue reached $933.1 million in the 2023-24 season, Manchester City alone contributed significantly to this total, with a record revenue of $715 million and a pre-tax profit of $74 million. However, the increase in spending on transfers and the underperformance of the team may force the city to seek more financial support from its owners. Stefan Borson, a financial expert and former advisor to Manchester City, pointed out that the group's transfer spending was largely anticipated, but the team's disappointing performance may result in a need for additional funding to ensure the club can turn things around. Despite these financial difficulties, Borson stated that CFG's long-term vision remains intact. The multi-club model was designed to be an ambitious and long-term project, not a short-term investment. According to him, this type of financial challenge has always been part of the plan. However, as City struggles to regain form in the Premier League and improve its performance in international competitions, it is evident that the club will need to make strategic decisions about where to allocate its financial resources. Now, I would like to know your opinion on this situation. Did Manchester City make the right signings? Considering the high cost of their acquisitions, do you think the club is making the best possible use of its resources, or should it have taken a different approach? Leave your opinion in the comments below. Furthermore, there is the factor of expectations surrounding Pep Guardiola and his ability to steer the team in the right direction. The Catalan manager has been widely praised for his work at Manchester City, but this year, the challenges seem to be greater. Guardiola has always been a master at transforming teams and maximizing the potential of his players, but will he be able to reverse this situation and lead City back to its dominant position? Or perhaps the club needs to consider more drastic changes to its structure beyond summer transfers? These are questions that will undoubtedly occupy the minds of everyone at the Etihad in the coming weeks. If you're a Manchester City fan, you must certainly be closely following this phase of transition. For the more optimistic supporters, the current season may be seen as a time of learning and adaptation. For others, it's a period of uncertainty, where patience may be tested, but hope never disappears. Manchester City has a solid foundation, and with the right strategy, the team can recover and return to being one of the world's footballing powerhouses. Now, the question that remains is, what should be the future of Manchester City? What does the club need to do to regain its prominent place both in the Premier League and in Europe? Do you think the departures of De Bruyne and Kovacic are necessary to renew the squad? Or do you see other more viable paths? Let's continue to monitor these developments and analyze what the future holds for Manchester City. One of the most interesting issues, which has sparked a great deal of debate among fans, is the impact of Guardiola's decisions regarding the squad renewal. Pep Guardiola has always been known for his ability to work with a talented group of players, but also for his bold choices, which often involve sidelining big names and betting on promising youngsters. However, as the season progresses and Manchester City struggles to achieve its goals, the question arises, did Guardiola make the right decisions regarding the renewal of his squad? With the potential departure of key players like De Bruyne and Kovacic, who will be the next to leave? And how will the club handle the lack of experience in the squad? There is growing pressure for City to quickly regain its form, and the responsibility falls directly on Guardiola. The coach has an impressive track record, but the current challenge seems more complex than expected. Although he has the ability to shape winning teams, City is no longer in a comfortable position where the quality of the squad is enough to win titles without significant challenges. The team urgently needs reinforcements that can bring experience and quality to the group, especially at a time when the balance between youth and experience is becoming increasingly crucial. It is clear that the departures of De Bruyne and Kovacic have very significant implications. Kevin De Bruyne has always been one of the central figures in Guardiola's system, and his departure to San Diego, if it materializes, would represent a huge loss for the team. De Bruyne is the type of player who can change the course of a match with a single play, and his absence would put even more pressure on other players to take on responsibilities in midfield. Kovacic, on the other hand, has been an important defensive midfielder for City, though he hasn't shown as much as others. His possible move to Atletico Madrid would open space for new players who could bring a different dynamic to the team. In this scenario, the financial issue also plays a crucial role. With high spending during the last transfer window, will City be able to maintain its financial health while making further acquisitions in the market? The losses recorded by CFG may indicate that the club will have to make more calculated decisions and perhaps even seek more support from its owners to ensure that the future of the team is not compromised. Even though Manchester City has a solid financial base with record revenue, the challenges of this season require more than just money. The club needs strategic planning to balance the finances and ensure that every penny spent in the transfer market is an investment that truly makes a difference in the team's performance. One area where City could seek immediate solutions is the defensive sector. Although the team has quality players like Ruben Dias, Manuel Akanji, and Nathan Ake, the team's defensive performance has been questioned, especially in decisive moments of the season. Kusenov, for example, has shown potential, but is still a young player adjusting to the intensity of the Premier League. His adaptation to Guardiola's playing style is something that needs to be closely monitored. Moreover, leadership in the defensive sector has been another point of discussion. Ruben Dias, although one of the pillars of the defense, needs more support and a defensive partner who can elevate the team's level. And speaking about the future, there is also the issue of how Manchester City can take advantage of its academies and internal developments to bring new talent to the first team. The presence of young players like Liam Delap and the potential interest of the club in players like Doué shows that Guardiola and the City board are paying attention to the market of promising youngsters. However, it is crucial that the club successfully integrates these young players into the squad without putting too much pressure on them. The risk of losing players with great potential like Delap to other clubs is real, and City needs to decide whether to bet even more on its youth academy or seek significant external reinforcements. The arrival of players like Hugo Vanna to take over as sporting director next summer will also be a turning point for the club. The squad overhaul, with the departure of more experienced players and the arrival of young talents, will be Vanna's focus. Signing players like Delap, if City decides to activate its buyback clause, could be a strategic move to ensure that the team has a blend of promising young players and experienced players, something that City seems to need for the future. However, at the end of the day, Manchester City urgently needs a turnaround to return to being the dominant club it once was. Top-level football requires decisions to be precise and well-founded, and the long-term vision of CFG will undoubtedly play a crucial role in the choices the club makes going forward. As financial challenges intensify, it will be interesting to see whether Manchester City will continue betting on its winning formula or if it will change its approach to ensure the preservation of its status as a great European club. Finally, the big question that remains is, does Guardiola have the time and resources necessary to implement his changes and bring Manchester City back to the top? Will the club manage to find the balance between promising young players and experienced players to face the challenges of the Premier League and the Champions League? I would like to know your opinion on these points and how you see the future of Manchester City in the coming months. How do you imagine the club can overcome these challenges and become the powerhouse we all know again? Leave your opinion in the comments below. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video with more updates on Manchester City and everything happening with the team. Until then.